Right now, every planet in our solar system is moving direct. That means they're moving forward, lots of motion. Yet, right now, I feel like I'm in somewhat of like a holding pattern. And I say that because everything in my life, like from the custody situation that I have with my son and his father, it's like in limbo right now. My beauty brand, it's just launched and we're still trying to figure out which direction we want to go, which partners we want to work with, my business and friendships, particularly relationships, business relationships that I've essentially outgrown and are really shifting. And I used to think that when all planets and everything in the cosmos is moving direct, then I should be moving too. And I was recently listening to my evolutionary astrologist. Her name is Kristin Fontana, and she's actually been on this podcast before. And she shared with me something that really changed the way I look at this season. And she really said, and very specifically said, that you are right on time. And the system, even though all the planets are moving direct, isn't really fully a go yet. So if you're feeling like you're not ready for the launch or not ready for the next move, then that is the moment that you should be feeling. That is the readiness, essentially. So, what we're going to talk about on today's show, and I want to welcome you all to the Meta and Business Millennial podcast, is really the sacred art of sitting in what's not ready yet. And this might be counterintuitive, but certainly there's so many of us that are feeling like these massive callings on our lives and have been doing the work, have been healing, have been really showing up for ourselves and everyone in our lives and are just like, why ain't it popping like I want it to be popping? And it just makes perfect sense because sitting in it, trusting in what's happening, and continuing to rest in the truth that you know that all that you dream of will manifest in exactly the way you want it is exactly the most powerful thing that you can do in this year. Okay. So I really want to break down. I'm not, you know, the astrologer, but I'm going to just high level break down what's happening in the cosmos so we can really kind of have a broader understanding of how we're going to apply this to our lives and particularly our businesses and really feel confident about where we're going next. Okay. So every planet is direct. So, like as I mentioned before, everything is in motion, yet we're still feeling this, if you will, kind of waiting dynamic. I don't even want to call it a push pull because it's really like we're sitting and we're waiting for something to happen. That's because the lunar nodes have been hovering at an 8 to 9 degree Virgo Pisces since mid January. And that's essentially the soul axis. And that really has us sitting between what we're finishing from our past and what we're anchoring to in our future. And so those things are still in dialogue. So if you're like really listening to your dreams, I know particularly in my dreams, so much from my past has been coming up to clear, to be seen. I've been journaling about my dreams, really being aware of what's happening in my dreams so that I can clear all of those old energies, those old emotions, those old thoughts out of my soul system so that I can really move forward with that clarity. And the South Node is in Virgo. So that essentially is our past and what we've been disentangling from, separating from, outgrowing, evolving from, the distortions, the doubt disguised as discernment, the overfunctioning, the overriding. That's something too for me I really had to look into is the overriding, the overgiving, all of those things. And so the North Node is in Pisces, which is our future and what's not fully ready to arrive. And that vision is still forming for us. So if you really are unclear about where you want to go, I would say that right now is a good time to start imagining what do you really want, asking yourself, what do I really want for my future? Writing it out, seeing it for yourself, visiting places, dreaming of places, looking at magazines, looking at YouTube videos. This is what I've been doing too, and really start to form those scenes of where you want to be. And essentially, these nodes, the South Node and the North Node, are holding these patterns until mid April. And that's rare. They usually move faster, but the universe is literally pausing our lives right now. And the universe is pausing our soul evolution for a reason. And essentially, I've been sitting with all of this, as I'm sure many of you have too. and asking, like, where do these degrees land in my own personal life, essentially? Because for me, this isn't just theory. I work always. I'm always in co-creation with God, always in co-creation with the universe. And whether it's the custody hearings that I'm dealing with, the legal issues that I'm dealing with there, whether it's my raw beauty business that's still in its infancy, I'm always looking around in my life and realizing that, something's not resolved. Things are not resolved. However, I'm trusting the process. Unconditional trust is what I like to call it. And that is essentially where I'm at with God and with the universe right now. And so I really want us to kind of imagine that this season of our life, I love this image, are like revolving doors, like mirrored revolving doors. And they don't move on a straight axis. They're like a spiral, like the revolving door. So they're turning and returning at the same time. So the work, if you're doing the work, like the emotional work, the soul work, the having the self-awareness, making the corrections in your life, you pass through those revolving doors to the next phase. So you have the expansion, you have the challenge, you get the reward. Okay. And if you're in the revolving doors, and you're not wanting to do the work, if you're not wanting to change, if you're not wanting to grow, then you revisit those same aspects of your life from your past. And essentially, the door does a revolution or a re evolution. So it's really calling you to evolve. And so we're literally in that 50-50 point right now. And half of us are getting sent back to re-evolve, which is never a bad thing. It's always about growth and expansion. God is never going to abandon us, okay? And then half of us are going to be upgraded and sent forward. And, where you are on your journey essentially determines which side you're on. And again, there's no right or wrong in this. This is just about where you are in your evolution and where you want to be in your evolution, because that's something very beautiful about our relationship with God is our free will and our ability to choose where we want to be on our journey, and God's overwhelming love and support in just holding us wherever we want to be. Okay. You're never going to be abandoned. And so the question you really want to ask yourself is, what side of the door are you standing on? Do you want to evolve? Do you want to grow? Do you want to expand? Are you really wanting to just revisit those past emotions, grow a little bit more, move a little bit slower? And that is completely fine. Okay. Just ask yourself those questions. And then when you decide which way you want to go, then you'll be guided. Okay. Well, what have I done or what do I need to do to pass through, to upgrade? And I think about this all the time for myself. For me, like I said, even in my dreams, clearing out the overgiving, clearing out the overriding, especially not listening to myself when I'm being, those whispers are telling me, oh, Erin, you should have done this, or you should do that, or you shouldn't do that, work with that person, or you shouldn't talk to this person. Like listening to those whispers, and instead of overriding them, actually listening. Are there people in your lives, are there situations in your life that are holding you back from that growth and expansion that need to be released? And those are questions that you really want to start asking yourself now, so that you can make sure that as you're going through this revolving door, the mirrors of the revolving mirror door, that you if you want to pass through to the other side and get that upgrade and get that next level challenge, get that next level reward, that you're doing this kind of questioning and self-awareness work that's going to help you get there. And I have to admit that one of the biggest things, including the overriding and the overgiving, is the control. Lord, the OCD is real. The OCD is real. And, I think a lot of us have been working hard, myself included, on releasing control, having that unconditional trust. And this is the season where, in many cases, we have no choice. We just can't control everything. And for me, obviously, it's really this custody situation. Like, there's nothing more than I want than to be with my son every day and and share the custody traditionally, like having him go to his dad's on weekends and holidays, etc., and not be in a situation I'm in where it's the opposite, and being able to have ability to direct his medical attention, direct what school he goes to. I actually have no rights in that department. And this used to be a point of intense shame for me, it used to be a point of intense uh, anger, fear, because I couldn't control the situation with my son. Actually, a being that I carried in my body and birthed into this world. I actually cannot do anything for him legally, technically. And, this is essentially been a season of having to release that identity of having control over his life and having someone else who I actually don't believe is as capable as I am do all those things instead. Okay. I mean, it's just really being real and honest and truthful. And so being able to sit in this place of unconditional trust in God, knowing that God, first of all, wouldn't put my son in a situation where he couldn't survive, wouldn't put my son in a situation where he would be harmed. I have to trust in God's greater purpose, greater divine plan in organizing not only my life, but my son's life. I've been praying over his soul since before he was born. And I don't know, I can't say that for his dad. I don't know what his dad's, plans were for him. But I know my connection with him has been cultivating since before he incarnated into my body. I've been praying for him. So I can only trust that God is going to create the scenario where things will work out for both of us. Everything always works out for us. Everything's always working out for me. Is I tell myself that, and I tell him that when he comes to me and he's scared, he wants to be with me. He wants to stay here with me, and he can't. And I have to continue to encourage him along that same path. Everything's always working out for us. Trust in God. God is going to make sure you're safe wherever you are. I don't even try to play that talk about nobody bad game. I don't talk about his dad bad. It is what it is. I've had to learn how to release the control of it. Okay? And then essentially, and here's the part that really gives me chills, is that Mercury enters Aries on April 14th, okay? So, but it doesn't move ahead of Mars until April 20th. And Mercury is the planet of communication. Mars is planet of action. So, with Mercury being behind Mars right now, we're having motion, but the communication with emotion's not there yet, and it won't be there yet until 420. Ironically, for those that know, if you know, you know. So on 420, this is the opportunity for the communication to meet the action. That's the completion phase. And that is when the mind and the movement align. And so April 20th through May 6th is the 16-day window. So 420 to 516 is the 16-day window of full acceleration. So get ready, y'all. That's why this rest, this preparation, this clearing is very important, because everything that's been integrating behind the scenes is getting ready to move quickly in the next few weeks. It's April 1st today, so in the next 19 days, it's going to move very quickly, a little over 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. And this is the part that most people miss, is that you only get that acceleration, like I said, if you honor the stillness first. The stillness is so important, or else you will not be able to have that motion like you're meant to. If you try to force the launch, if you try to force the movement, the motion before, you won't get the momentum to accelerate and go. Okay? So be comfortable in the uncomfortable. Be safe in the unknowing. So if you're sitting here in April with April 1 with a launch that's not ready, a rebrand that's not ready, a legal situation that's sticky, things that aren't moving, your relationships that are not really giving you life, then this is your permission slip essentially to just sit in it, trust it, and wait, because you are not behind. You are in the final phase of something that's going to accelerate you to a level that you can't even really imagine. That's why the visioning and the imagining is so important right now, because it's likely going to exceed that, okay? Something sacred is completing for you. And so your next step is being prepared. You just can't see it yet, Because like I said, the Mercury, the communication is behind the action right now. Mercury is still behind Mars. So your mind hasn't caught up with what's actually moving in your life, but your soul knows. Trust me, your soul knows. And so again, how I'm practicing this right now for myself is I can't force outcomes, essentially. However, I can show up. I can do the work. For me, exactly, if I want to speak specifically to this custody situation, which I've been talking about, I can show up for my son. When the moments that I do have him, if you guys follow me on social media, we went on spring break, we went to Aspen, we went on a beautiful ski trip. The moments that I do have with him, we are spending quality time together. I'm not on my social media. I'm not on my stories. I'm not doing work. I am fully 100% present with him. So I'm really finding these opportunities to be the best mother that I can be and to really clear out any energies around control, around, fear, doubt, anger, emotional stagnation that I was having and feeling like nothing's moving in my way, down on myself, shameful even. All that had to go. All that's clearing out, essentially. So what this is for us is a purification season. We're in a season of purification with my beauty brand, Raw Beauty. It's still in its infancy. I literally had my brand launch party in November. So I can't try to force, my product into stores. I can't try to force all these other events after, I've invested all this into a launch party. Now it's time to recover, regroup, strategize. So I love this metaphor about it. I literally just put the seeds in the soil for my Raw Beauty brand. So I have to let the seeds take root before they can even grow and become this beautiful hibiscus tree inspired by my hibiscus petal oil. So essentially, if it's friendships, if it's work relationships that are falling apart or reorganizing, certainly trust that some doors are closing. So some windows or some balconies can open for you or something that can really serve your next level of your growth. Some of them are revolving or evolving to move you forward. Okay. And I know for myself, and I feel this for so many of you out there, that my business in general is laying the foundation for next level exponential growth. Okay. Next level growth. And in order for me to be able to hold the capacity for this and hold the space for this, I have to have the proper foundation. Okay. And something I did yesterday was really set the foundation for the empire that I've always dreamt of creating. And that required me to really purify myself. We're still in the season of Lent, mind you. Easter is on Sunday. So I've been fasting, I've been praying, I've been resting. I did my social media detox. So I deleted Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook from my phone. I haven't even touched those social media apps. I haven't had any alcohol. And not that I drink a lot anyway, but it's something I do every year. And I just have been feeling so good, just tuning into myself, feeling into my own energy. And this is what purification looks like. It's not perfection. It's clearing the roots of the past so the soil of the future can hold what is becoming and what is growing. And so I am just so honored to have this opportunity to share this download with you all, because I feel like what's happening in this season is really affecting so many of us. And we really need to get clear around what we want. Again, just reiterating what we're allowing ourselves to release emotionally, physically, relationship wise, so that we can be ready to receive the great rewards and gifts that are coming our way. Okay. So if you're feeling like you're in the in between, if you're feeling like you're just sitting with no motion, it's because something is really growing and brewing for you for your future. You're in that sacred sitting place. And I would love for you to just continue to listen to that inner voice in yourself and your being. That's not fear, that's wisdom. And trust that between now and April 20th, your only assignment is integration. Your only assignment is rest. And you need to honor what's completing for your life from your past so that you can really embody your future. Let the roots grow deeper. Trust that acceleration window that's coming literally in 2 weeks, 19 days, and you'll be ready for it. Not only will you be ready for it, but you would have not forced it. You would have earned it. You would have received it very much in the feminine flow. And you would have surrendered into the becoming, the trust that everything that you've desired is manifesting for you. So look higher, dream bigger, because that's what's being asked of us right now. And so if this message resonated with you, as I'm sure it has, because it's deeply like resonating with me and filling me with joy, I'm just like, yes, like I've been preparing for this my whole life. Then I really want you to share this with me. So, leave a comment, subscribe to the Meta Business Millennial podcast. Of course, you can follow me across social media at I am Erin Patten, and really let me know how this is working for you. You can really reach out to me on my website and talk to me there. And so, I just want to leave you out with this, that sometimes the most powerful thing is knowing you're not the only one sitting in the wait. You're not the only one. And I think oftentimes we feel like we're alone. We feel like, we're the only ones. We're suffering in silence. And trust that a lot of us are going through challenges. A lot of us are going through evolution. And this is what we came here to Earth for this opportunity to grow. And grow comes sometimes with pains. And so I just want to send you a lot of love. There's a lot of great love here for you. And I wish you all well. Much love and light. Peace. Did you really love this episode of the Meta Business Millennial podcast? Well, I am honored, and I appreciate you subscribing, leaving a review, and sharing it with your friends, because your feedback allows us to co-create more enlightened conversations. And if you're interested in growing your soul now, head over to my website, erinpatten.com, to find all the show notes, links, and free resources to get your energy activated today. In the meantime, stay bright, my friends. Much love and light. Peace.